Roy, hey. Prepare to pose. Pose. Recover. Raise that arm. Order arm. Have face. Forward, forward.
Please be seated. Good morning. My name is Mark Cooper, and I have the honor and the privilege of being the president of the South Central Iowa Federation of Labor, AFL-CIO. On behalf of the Executive Board of the South Central Federation and the 71 affiliated local unions representing 11,000 sisters and brothers, I would like to welcome you to this year's 2019 Workers' Memorial event. To the families and friends who have lost a loved one this past year to a workplace illness or injury, I would like to offer our deepest condolences on behalf of the South Central Iowa Federation of Labor and the entire organized labor community. I would like to take a few minutes to recognize the individuals and organizations who make this day special. Thank you to the State of Iowa Division of Labor for their continued support of our annual observation. Thank you to our delegates and the members of the South Central Federation for their continued support and planning of this event. I would like to say thank you to the Carpenters Union Local 106 for their work in building the wooden crosses and the Painters Union Local 246 for painting them. I want to say thank you to the Ironworkers Local 67 for the metal crosses they built, and a thank you to ASME Local Union 3450 who supplied the laser-etched paperweights. Thank you also to ASME Local 3013 for the ice cream. And a thank you to Wellmark Blue Cross and Blue Shield for their generous contribution towards today's sound system. Thank you to the Revolt Company for erecting the funeral tent. This event would not be as special if we didn't have the participation of the Des Moines Fire Department Color Guard and the Des Moines Police Honor Guard. So our hats are off to you, sisters and brothers in uniform. Thank you to Mark Herm of the Musicians Union Local 75, who will be our bagpiper today. Now it is my pleasure to introduce the person who will be delivering today's invocation. Connie Ryan leads the statewide Interfaith Alliance of Iowa, where she has been the executive director since 2002. Connie is a well-known voice in Iowa's public square, protecting faith and freedom, challenging extremism, and empowering Iowans to actively engage in the state's public conversations on issues of religious freedom, equality, and civility. She also serves as the organization's lobbyist, working to shape public policy at the Iowa State House. In 2010, Connie was instrumental in establishing the coalition Justice Not Politics to protect Iowa's courts from politicization and attacks by special interest groups. Connie remains as president of JNP, which is the state's leading coalition of judicial independence. Connie has served the state and built relationships through her service on several nonprofit boards. She currently serves as a board member of the Friends of Iowa Legal Aid. Connie helped found and served as a board chairperson of the Iowa Immigration Education Coalition. She also served as board chairperson of the Iowa Citizens Action Network board, member and treasurer of the Iowa Safe Schools, and board member of One Iowa. Connie holds a master's in social work from the University of Iowa and a BA from Drake University. Connie Ryan.
Will you join me? As we join together, we bring to mind those workers in Iowa, in our state, and across our nation who lost their lives in the workplace last year. We hold their families, their friends, their co-workers in our hearts as they seek peace. We celebrate their lives and honor them today for their strength and commitment to their work and for the love and dedication of their families. We remember them today and ask that all workers be honored with dignity and respect. We ask that the hearts and minds of those who see the world differently and the worth of workers as less than be changed. We ask for strength on this journey as we struggle for a world where workers can live and work in safety and with dignity. In all things, we strive to be instruments of justice. We seek strength to make the right choices, wisdom to look beyond ourselves for the common good, and determination to hold our leaders and ourselves accountable so that all Iowans have the opportunity to learn, to work, and to live equally and fully in our state and across the nation. With all that we have and all that we have been given, we commit ourselves to ensure fairness and justice and to live our lives in a manner that promotes the worth and dignity of all workers. In all these things, we join our voices and hearts as together we fight for all.
Now it is my pleasure to introduce Iowa's Labor Commissioner, Rod Roberts. Commissioner Roberts is an Iowa native. He was born in Waverly and grew up in the central Iowa community of Zering. He currently resides in Carroll with his wife, Trish. Commissioner Roberts served in the Iowa House of Representatives from 2001 to 2010. During those 10 years, he represented an area in west central Iowa that included all of Carroll County and portions of Crawford, Greene, and Sac counties. In 2010, Governor Branstad appointed him to serve as the director of the Iowa Department of Inspection and Appeals, a position he served in until February of this year. Governor Reynolds appointed him to serve as Iowa's Labor Commissioner in March of this year. Commissioner Roberts has two grown children, a son, Brett, who resides and works in Des Moines, and a daughter, Lindsay, who resides and works in Mills County, Iowa. He has two grandsons named Jack and Ryan. It's my pleasure to introduce to you Commissioner Roberts.
Thank you, Mark. Good morning, everyone. And thank you for taking time to join with us in this year's Workers' Memorial Service. I want to say a special thank you to family members of 5 individuals whom we will recognize and honor in just a little while. We appreciate your attendance today as well. On behalf of the staff of the Iowa Division of Labor, thank you for being here, and a special thank you to all of you who offered a prayer asking for good weather, or at least a break in the weather. Thankfully this morning it is neither raining nor snowing, so we have much to be thankful for in terms of a pleasant day and nice weather to share these moments in. To those of you who gather with us who are still grieving the loss of a loved one, on behalf of all of us who attend this special program with you, our sincere sympathy, condolence, and even though we might not be able to share the depth of feeling that you have for the loss of your loved one, know that we all share in that human experience of losing loved ones. And so we want to reach out to you and offer our encouragement and our support this day. No one expects to see a loved one go off to work and not return home at the end of their shift. But unfortunately, you have experienced that. And so again, we appreciate your presence, and we especially want to hold you up in support and encouragement. I'd like to share just a few words of a special reading, one that has great meaning for me personally, that I've always appreciated when read or heard. The reading is simply entitled The Dash, and the author's name is Linda Ellis. And in a small way, may this be a gesture or token of my personal sympathy extended to each of you. These few lines read as follows. I read of a pastor who stood to speak at the funeral of a dear friend. The pastor referred to the dates on the gravestone from the beginning to the end. The pastor noted that first came the date of his birth and spoke of the following date with tears. But the pastor said what mattered most of all was that little line, the dash, between those 2 years. For that dash represented all the time that loved one spent alive on earth. And now only those who knew him and loved him knew what that little line was really worth. For it matters not how much we own, the cars, the house, the cash. What matters is how we live our lives and love others, and how each one spends their dash. On behalf of those who work so hard in the division of labor today, we also rededicate ourselves to fulfilling our mission and working to ensure that all Iowans have safe and healthy places in which to work. We commit ourselves to doing that, and again, we honor you and we pay respect to your loved one this day. Now, at this time, I would like to introduce our governor. Governor Kim Reynolds understands the challenges families face. She herself has faced challenges in life. She's a fifth-generation Iowan who grew up in a working-class family in St. Charles, Iowa. And as a teenager, she worked as a waitress at Yonkers and later as a checker at a Hy-Vee store. Governor Reynolds served as the Clark County Treasurer and later as state senator from South Central Iowa, and later on became our lieutenant governor and now our governor. She has never forgot her working class roots. Governor Reynolds and her husband Kevin have been married 37 years. They have 3 daughters and enjoy 10 grandchildren. Please join me in welcoming Governor Kim Reynolds to the podium.
Do I introduce the Lieutenant Governor, or do you come back? Okay, thank you. Well, thank you, Commissioner Roberts, for that very nice introduction, and thank you for your leadership. Good morning and welcome. It's humbling to share this Workers' Memorial Service with the families, loved ones, and co-workers of our fellow Iowans who lost their lives going about their daily work. As we remember these fallen workers, I extend my deepest condolences. There are no words to remove the pain that comes with the loss of a loved one. Grief sometimes is like the powerful forces of Iowa's weather. It's something that's experienced but not controlled. Although many try to predict what it may do and plan accordingly, there is no way to escape or change it. We can only adapt and manage our response. For those of us who have lost loved ones, we know that grief does not go away. It merely changes with each day. The path to healing is as unique as the people who walk it. May God bless you for finding the strength to be here today, and may He sustain you as you continue your journey. I pray that this ceremony offers you peace as we solemnly honor the sacrifices that have been made by your loved ones, and I want you to know that you're not alone. We gather here to recognize the story of Iowa is the story of its workers. The greatness of our state lies in the people who carry out their daily work. Each of the 26 Iowans we honor deserve our utmost respect for their contributions to making Iowa the very best place to live, work, and raise a family. In the words of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., no work is insignificant. All labor that uplifts humanity has dignity and importance and should be undertaken with painstaking excellence. On this day, when we reverently honor all who have perished for the sake of humanity, Let our mission be to shape their legacy into tomorrow's safe, working environments, that together let us seek excellence through diligence, safety through mindfulness, and well-being through thoughtfulness. Our renewed commitment to workplace safety is a tribute to our fallen Iowans, that someday, some great day, we gather again on the Capitol steps and rejoice that not one person was lost due to a workplace accident. So may God bless each and every one of you in this great state. Thank you.
Adam Gregg serves as Iowa's 47th Lieutenant Governor. Lieutenant Governor Gregg serves as co-chair of the Governor's Empower Rural Iowa Initiative and serves on the Executive Committee of the National Lieutenant Governors Association and as the Vice Chair of the Republican Lieutenant Governors Association. Lieutenant Governor Gregg previously served as the State Public Defender, where he drew praise for his leadership, guiding the agency responsible for providing the constitutional right to counsel. In 2013 and 14, Adam served in the Governor's office as Legislative Liaison and Policy Advisor. Prior to joining the Governor's staff, Lieutenant Governor Gregg practiced at the Brown-Winnick Law Firm in Des Moines. Lieutenant Governor Gregg is a graduate of Central College in Pella and the Drake University College of Law. Lieutenant Governor Gregg is married with 2 children. Please join me in welcoming Lieutenant Governor Gregg to the podium.
Well, thank you. It's an honor to be here. It's an honor to serve you in the role of Lieutenant Governor. I'm very honored to be here with you today to acknowledge the dignity and the memory of Iowa's workers and to honor those who we have sadly lost over the past year. I'd also like to extend my condolences to the families and the friends of the fallen workers that we honor here today. In the nearly 20 years since Worker Memorial Day was established, we've solemnly gathered to remember hundreds of workers in our state. Too many good people whose lives were tragically cut short, who went to work and never came home. These are tragedies that happen to ordinary, everyday people. On this day over the years, we've honored wives and husbands, fathers and mothers, daughters and sons, brothers and sisters, grandparents, friends, and sweethearts. It could have just as easily been one of us or one of our loved ones. And as difficult as a ceremony like today's can be, it also strengthens our resolve to fight harder and stronger to make sure that tragedies like these do not keep happening. As we gather to mourn and to reflect, let us also rededicate ourselves to making every workplace in our state safer and healthier. Let's do all that we can to protect every worker, and let's strive to do our best to reach a time when there are no fallen workers to mourn. Thank you, and God bless you all.
This time I would like to introduce Director Beth Townsend. Director Townsend has general supervision over the various services and functions of the Iowa Workforce Development Department. The director prepares, administers, and controls the budget for the department. And as Labor Commissioner and Joe Cortez, who is also up front with us this morning, who is the Workers' Compensation Commissioner, we work together in partnership in leading the important work of IWD and our 2 divisions. Director Townsend was appointed by Governor Branstad and confirmed by the Iowa Senate unanimously on March 24, 2015, and she was reappointed by Governor Reynolds and confirmed by the State Senate just this month to serve another term as Iowa's Director of Iowa Workforce Development. Director Townsend previously served as the Director of the Iowa Civil Rights Commission. Director Townsend served in the Air Force Reserve and retired as a Lieutenant Colonel after 21 years of active and reserve duty. Please join me in welcoming Director Beth Townsend.
Thank you, Commissioner Roberts. It is a great honor to be here today with you and the families of those who have died in Iowa's workplace in 2018. We come together today to remember those that were lost and provide support to the loved ones they left behind. We know from Psalms that God is close to the brokenhearted and promises to heal those who are crushed in spirit, as we know the families are. Workers' Memorial Day is also a call to us to rededicate ourselves to safety for all in the workplace. It is a reminder of the importance of making our workplace safe as we work towards reducing future workplace accidents, a goal we can and must achieve. We are fortunate to live in a state where opportunities to work and improve our own lives and that of our families are plentiful. Our lives are busy and full with work and life, and we assume every day as we go off to work that we will enjoy the fruits of our labor at the end of the day. Our hearts break for the loss that you have experienced. We cannot pretend to understand your grief, but we recognize your tears are sacred. As Washington Irving once said, "They are not the marks of weakness, but of power. They speak more eloquently than 10,000 tongues. They are messengers of overwhelming grief and unspeakable love." We honor the dedication and sacrifice of each of your loved ones who were lost in workplace accidents this year. And we say to you that we will do all that we can to work steadfastly and ceaselessly to ensure that our workplaces will be safe and healthy for all Iowans, so that fewer families will experience the same terrible loss that you have experienced. In closing, we honor those we have lost in our service in 2018 as we remember, to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance. For the Lord has made everything beautiful in his time.
At this time, I would like to formally present to President Cooper the governor's formal proclamation designating April 28th as Worker Memorial Day here in the state of Iowa. President Cooper.
Thank you, Commissioner. State of Iowa Executive Department. Proclamation. Whereas every year, tens of thousands of American workers are killed by workplace injuries and occupational disease, and whereas tens of thousands more are permanently disabled, and whereas millions are injured or made ill, and whereas concerned Americans are determined to prevent these tragedies by observing Workers' Memorial Day on April 28th as a day to remember these victims of workplace injuries and disease, renewing our efforts to enforce safety and health protections, and redirecting ourselves to improving safety and health in every American workplace. Now, therefore, I, Kim Reynolds, Governor of the State of Iowa, do hereby proclaim April 28th, 2019 as Workers' Memorial Day in Iowa and in recognitions of workers killed, injured, and disabled on the job. Now it is my pleasure to introduce Charlie Wishman, Secretary-Treasurer of the Iowa Federation of Labor, AFL-CIO. Charlie Wishman is the Secretary-Treasurer for the Iowa Federation of Labor, AFL-CIO. He is a former member of the IAM Local 254, AFSCME Locals 3450 and 2023, and currently is a member of the AFT Local 716. Charlie has spent several years working with and for the labor movement in a communications role. He first became active in advocacy as community liaison for the Food Bank of Iowa from 2003 to 2006. Then as a community organizer and lobbyist for Iowa Citizens Action Network from 2006 to 2009. He then served as communications specialist for AFSCME Iowa Council 61 from 2009 until he came to work for the Iowa Federation of Labor, AFL-CIO, in September of 2011 as communications director. He was then elected Secretary-Treasurer of the Iowa Federation of Labor AFL-CIO in January 2012. Charlie?
Thank you, Brother Cooper. On behalf of the approximately 500 local unions that belong to the Iowa Federation of Labor, AFL-CIO, thank you all for being here. We offer our deepest condolences for your loss. April 28th every year marks Workers' Memorial Day. And the labor movement gathers not just here in Des Moines, but all across the entire state to honor both union and non-union workers that have fallen on the job. Public employees and steel workers and laborers and teachers and postal workers and firefighters and police and letter carriers and electricians and plumbers all across the state get together and mark this occasion in different ways. Since Friday, all across the state, we've been marking this occasion. On Friday, Bettendorf, in Dubuque, and Iowa City held ceremonies. On Saturday, in Keokuk, they held a ceremony. On Sunday, Clinton, Sioux City, and Waterloo held ceremonies. And today, Cedar Rapids, Council Bluffs, and here in Des Moines, we will mark this occasion. And every place does this a little bit differently. In Clinton this year, there was a special ceremony for Lieutenant Eric Hossett, who was killed in a fire in January, and Adam Kane, who was severely injured and is still recovering from his injuries from fighting a fire. In Waterloo, as the names are read, one by one a flower is dropped in front of the Labor Temple. In Dubuque, the UAW Color Guard and the firefighters' fife and drum mark the occasion. In Keokuk, they hold a community dinner for everyone. In Iowa City, which is one that stands out to me the most, having been to many of these ceremonies over the years, they read the names of the fallen, but not just the names. They read the cause of death. And they say, it is followed by them saying, gone but not forgotten. It is only until you hear someone's name and the cause of death that you really realize, and it really hits home, how preventable so many of these workplace deaths and injuries are. The labor movement chose April 28th for a reason. It was not a date that was picked out of thin air. April 28th, 1971 is the day that the Occupational Safety Hazard Act, OSHA, went into effect. We chose that day because we believe that there is a link between public policy and safety and workplace injuries on the job. And so as one legislative session draws to a close, and soon the snow will fall and we will begin again, please, let's remember that the choices that are made in the building behind us, they can affect the difference between a family member and a loved one coming home at night or at the end of their shift or them not. Let's do our best, everyone here, to make sure that every worker who has fallen in the past year and in years past are gone but not forgotten.
thank you to each of you who shared remarks this morning. In addition to the governor, lieutenant governor, Director Townsend, and Commissioner Cortez, there are other public officials in attendance this morning, and I would like to recognize them as well. We do have at least several members of the Iowa General Assembly with us today, so I think it might be appropriate if you just kind of raise your hand or wave and we can acknowledge you, recognize you. There we are, several. Thank you for being here today. I think I noticed there was one statewide elected official who came. State Treasurer Mike Fitzgerald is here. Thank you. Is there anyone else statewide elected official? I don't want to overlook anyone. All right. I'd also like to acknowledge and welcome Mayor Frank County, who's with us today. Thank you for being here. Do we have any members of the Des Moines City Council who are with us? Polk County elected officials, I think maybe County Auditor Jamie Fitzgerald. Thank you for being here. If you're a department director or agency head, would you simply wave and raise your hand so we can acknowledge you as well? And then finally, as State Labor Commissioner, I'd like to recognize one of our federal partners, Larry Davidson, who's over here on my left. We partner with the U.S. Department of Labor and our federal counterpart with OSHA as the Division of Labor. So Larry, thank you for being here this morning as well. Do we have any other public officials present that I've not recognized or acknowledged? And again, all of you, we appreciate your attendance this morning and appreciate your participation in honoring and paying respects to these fallen workers and their families. We now come to what I consider to be the important and most prominent portion of our program, and that is to recognize and pay tribute to these 26 Iowans and to pay our respects to their loved ones who are in attendance this morning. And so we share a formal roll call of these individuals. And so their names will be read, and we have 5 individuals whose names will be mentioned who have family with us today. And so if you are here as family of one of these individuals, we recognize and honor. When their name is read, would you please stand and then come forward, and we have small tokens of our respect and sympathy that we would like to share with you. Would invite you then to come in front of the podium and pose for a photograph with us up front. So at this time, I would like to share that roll call with everyone. The first individual we acknowledge and recognize this morning is Bradley Bergen, age 54. Kevin Blay, age 61. Timothy Cook, age 45. Christopher Ehrenhard, age 37. Marco Espinoza Jimenez, age 22. Jose Gomez, age 43. Dennis Hall, age 46. Thomas Henrik, age 59. Joseph Hill, age 43. Anthony Hills, age 52. John Lavery, age 45. Timothy Liebold, age 57. Enrique Maravilla Avalos, age 49. Aaron Matisse, age 34. Brian McCormick, age 42. William McQuiston, age 48. Bradley Peach, age 52. Timothy Rindles, age 59. Jose Sanchez Martinez, age 26. Michael Siebens, age 61. Charles Spade, age 55. Jeffrey Sprague, age 56. Mike Sumner, age 56. Shannon Torkelson, age 41. Cameron White, age 27. Merlin Yoder, age 65. That concludes the roll call. We would like to invite family members back to 1000 Grand Avenue, the Iowa Workforce Development Office Building, for a time of refreshment at the conclusion of our program. I want to thank everyone for attending this year's Workers' Memorial Service. This formally concludes our service this year. Thank you.